Do I have any questions for Coach?
Coach, how much credit goes to them for how hot they got late on threes, the way they were sharing the ball and then getting second chance looks?
All credit, for sure. Half of their shots were from three. And relative to what we would like to do defensively, that's a good number when 50% of your shots are from three. We did an incredibly poor job contesting those shots. And like you said, some of that was off the offensive rebounds. I think they out-rebounded us by 15 in the second half. But we would like to contest 71% of threes. And against Vanderbilt, we contested 79%, which is incredibly hard to do. Ole Miss, we contested 75%. We won a defensive rebound 70%. Against LSU, we only rebounded 48% of their misses, which is atrocious. Today we only rebounded, our defensive rebound percentage was 56%. So, doing a really good job of keeping the ball out of the paint, forcing them to shoot threes. I think entering today we had the second best defense in SEC games only. A lot of that is because we've forced teams to shoot more threes than anybody else. But you have to, if you know that that's what's coming or that's what the design is, you have to contest at a much higher rate than we have this week. And then you've probably heard it before, long shots equal long rebounds, so you have to finish the possession with the rebound. And both games this week were the exact same test. We did not contest near hard enough or at a high enough percentage, nor did we finish those possessions, whether it was contested or not, with the rebound. Those are our two worst numbers of the year.
How much of a concern is it that you're giving away points at the free throw line in a game that could have ultimately come close to making the difference?
Yeah, I may have misunderstood your question, Travis, so I'm not being sarcastic. They only scored 7 points from the free throw line.
No, for y'all shooting free throws.
Great. We shot 41 free throws. I guess I would like to make a little bit higher than the percentage we did, but as it's the only game all year, points per possession, offensively, that we've had one. Every game entering today, we've had less than one, which speaks to our offensive woes. But if we can get to the free throw line, it's a way to maybe cheat that true number. And today our number was one, and it's because we scored 28 points from the free throw line. We did a great job both games this week of getting to the bonus first and trying to collect free throws, particularly with the clock stopped. In some ways, we're doing things better than we have ever done all year. And then some of the things that we've relied upon as we've got that accomplished, those are the things that are those are the reasons why we lost both games this week.
Coach, why do you feel like your team comes out with so much energy and fight to start the second half, and how can you try and hopefully emulate that towards the first half?
Obviously, we didn't do that Tuesday against LSU, down 14 after the first two media timeouts. Much better fight to start the game. Started the game really well against Vanderbilt, arguably the best we have all year long. I think we've scored more points in the second half than we have in the first half. I think I may have said it publicly last week. I think a portion of it, being respectful to our guys, is we're embarrassed. We're embarrassed that we're always down at half. But I thought our fight at the start, I think Save took his second charge of his career early in the game. He was first to the floor twice. We were doing a good job. E-Man was doing a really good job on the glass. Our guards have got a rebound. We had 14 guard rebounds against Oregon State. We had 10 at Vanderbilt, and today Q had 3 and Dre had 2, and that's not enough. Our guards have got to rebound down. I guess I probably have answered your question.
Buzz, understanding that South Carolina came in, I think, with the SEC low three-pointers, did they catch y'all by surprise by any chance with the way they shot?
No, sir. They obviously shot it. I would say that's their best. Since any of those players would be there, that would be my guess. It's for sure their best this season. 60 total balls were shot, 30 were from 3, and of the 4 guys that shot the threes, 47 of the 60 they shot. So, stereotypically speaking, 4 guys shoot 47 out of 60 balls, then that means the other guys are probably shooting on putbacks. They were the 11th best team in the country at wood twos out of 354 Division I teams. 60% of their made baskets this year have been inside the arc. So our premise, cover 2 all the time, but also even today, keep the ball out of the paint, force a contested 3. And so we forced 3s, we just didn't contest them good enough to make them miss.
How do you like the energy that Jackson's giving you right now?
I think he's maybe typical junior college player after Christmas, kind of realizing, oh, this is different. I only have 3 semesters left in college. If I'm gonna, not to sound like Travis Tritt, if I'm gonna be somebody, now's the time. Has been very consistent in his work individually, has begun to play hard all the time. I thought he's the fastest guy on the team. Some of his speed downhill you were able to see, which is why he shot 12 free throws. I know a couple of them were there at the end off coach's technical. Those don't count, but he's starting to, collectively, those guys are starting to care more. And when you care more, you try harder. And I think Q's for sure trying harder.
Coach, what will you do with your team to help them turn the page today and be ready to go Tuesday night against Missouri?
I don't know if I have the answer, and I don't say this condescending. I just tell you guys that what I tell you guys is what I tell the team. And if somebody texts me, I say the same in a text. I just try to tell the truth. The truth is we were not tough enough to finish possessions today. And you can't close out a high major shooter hoping they miss. You have to close out to make them miss. And you have to be there on the catch so that they pass it instead of shoot it. And we were delayed on our rotations. We were a second behind. We were 2 seconds behind, and you can't do that. And so that's not good enough. That's not tough enough. That's not hard enough. That's not whatever the words would be. And without sounding as if I have the answers, I would say we'll have the same issues on Tuesday at Missouri. And I think I don't think ball is like school. I think ball is more similar to life. You get certain tests in school, and if you fail the first one, you figure out how to study really hard so you can pass the second one, so that when you average the 2, it's okay. But I think in ball and life, I think it's different. I think you get the same test as a person, the same test as a coach / player until you pass it. And if you don't pass the test, the only thing that changes is you know what the questions are on the next test. And you have to decide how you're going to answer those questions. And too many of our answers today were the exact same as they were on Tuesday. And so if we don't change those answers this Tuesday, then we'll have the same grade.
You mentioned post-game from LSU, the coaching of a coach you weren't familiar with, coaching against Frank Martin. How was that experience like, coaching against a guy who described you as like a brother?
He's one of my favorite people in the world as a coach. When I grow up, I want to be like him. His life story is more remarkable than his coaching story, but because of the world we live in, and it's so fast, nobody ever does enough research to find out someone's life story because they're just wanting to tweet out the fastest stuff they can. I think before his career's over, he'll be in the Hall of Fame if we're only talking about coaching. He's been a head coach for 13 years. He's been to the NCAA tournament 5 times. That includes an Elite Eight. That includes a Final Four. Both would be at places that rarely occurs. That speaks to his will. And I think he has done everything from assistant high school coach to head Division I coach in 2 different power conferences. And he's done it based on his work, and he's done it based on his will. He doesn't cheat. He tells the truth. He tells the truth to you guys, maybe not always in the manner you want to hear it. He tells the truth to recruits. He tells the truth to his players. 52 didn't play a minute on Tuesday against Kentucky. Number 1 didn't travel today. He holds guys accountable for the right reasons so that their life is better. And I think not just the kids that he's coached in college, but the kids that he's coached throughout his career. In many respects, I think they would tell you he was the last bastion of hope for their life. And he has given their life new meaning and new hope because of how he goes about living his life and the example at which he coaches. It's not necessarily maybe for everyone, but who he is and what you see, I think there's a direct correlation between when you hear people have an opinion that, oh, he's crazy, whoever that is, there's a direct correlation between crazy people and big hearts. Frank's heart is as big as you will find for the right stuff. And this is the 13th year we've played against one another. It just happens that the first 12 were in private scrimmages. And he asked where my wife was and went and talked to her. He asked where my children were. He's been an incredible friend, and I don't have many, but I trust him completely. And if there was a person to emulate relative to their heart and their accountability and their truth, he would be one of them.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.